As I soaked in the glory of my Seattle Seahawks winning the NFC Championship, their head coach, Mike Macdonald, was asked,
Now, coming into the season, you were an afterthought to the Rams, to the 49ers. How did it feel to go through both of those teams to earn your trip to the Super Bowl?
and his response was,
"We did not care. It's about us. It's always been about us and what we do."
Coach Macdonald gave this team a new identity born from his vision.
That we have a vision for you and this football team.
Here we go, fastball!
But today, all right, I'm going to take you here now, so stay with me. I want us to just take a minute here and fast forward to January, NFC Championship. It's 30-something degrees. All right, it's wet, it's windy. All right, it's shitty for them, okay, but it's just right for us.
He manifested that mountaintop moment, but he knew that two things had to be non-negotiable: mindset and buying in. And that's the part that people often miss. The mountaintop moment doesn't start at the summit. It starts when no one is watching. When belief is fragile and when outside noise is loud, when doubt is reasonable, identity is forged long before results show up on the scoreboard. Winning is usually the byproduct, not the focus. Coach Macdonald has a strategy that he calls stacking plays. It's a philosophy of compound execution, winning the current rep to build momentum rather than focusing on the ultimate outcome. It's discipline over dopamine. It's process over praise. Presence over pressure. You don't win the Super Bowl on one snap. You win it by honoring the snap in front of you over and over and over. Even when it feels boring, even when it feels pointless, especially when it feels unseen. This is the compound effect. Making a million tiny right decisions which will compound into exponential change. The magic is that none of the decisions feel heroic in the moment. They feel small, almost insignificant. But that's the trick. The things that change your life rarely announce themselves. They whisper. In sports, we call it small ball. The master of small ball was Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro holds the single season record for most base hits. He wasn't like a big power guy, but he perfected all the little nuances that he could to try to create a tiny advantage anywhere and everywhere. Ichiro batted left-handed, so he was already a couple steps closer to first base. I remember when Ichiro would swing, he'd already start running, and he'd always hustle down that first base line. And a lot of times he'd beat the throw, probably manufacturing a few extra base hits each week. That's not flashy. It's not viral, but it's devastatingly effective. Those few steps add up. Those hustled seconds add up. Over 162 games, that mindset becomes legacy. Ichiro didn't wait to see if the ball dropped. He assumed his effort mattered every time. In the movie Moneyball, Brad Pitt plays Billy Beane, who's faced with changing the way baseball is viewed by looking at tiny metrics rather than overly focused on big names and big plays.
You guys are talking the same old nonsense like we're looking for Fabio. We got to think differently.
Who's Fabio?
And with the help of Peter Brand, played by Jonah Hill, they learn how to win through the art of small ball. They stop asking who looks the part and start asking what actually works. They remove ego from the equation. They let data humble tradition, and suddenly the game opens up to people who were previously overlooked. And as I sit here before you today, I'm faced with a pretty difficult challenge that I must win. Full transparency, I don't always win every rep. Some days I lose, but thankfully, God has always given me another day where I get more reps and more opportunities. And sometimes you might find yourself in a slump. And the only way you can really get out of that slump is to become really accountable and really honest with yourself. Otherwise, you'll miss out on the ways you can improve. You'll miss all the little nuances you can tweak. Slumps don't mean you're broken. They mean something needs adjusting. Footwork, timing, mindset, approach, and humility is what allows those adjustments to happen. Pride keeps you stuck. Honesty sets you free.
Because when you get into a lull, you never admit you're in a slump. Don't ever let a pitcher tell you you're in a slump. I would tell people you do one of 6 things when you get into a lull. You know what they are?
Yeah.
Closer to the plate, further away from the plate, up in the box, back in the box, choke up in the bat more, choke down in the bat more. Make it heavier, make it lighter. Never change your swing. Your swing got you to the big leagues. You change your positioning in the batter's box.
Because even the all-time greats were constantly shifting their stance, choking up, backing off the plate, leaning in, making micro adjustments to stay alive in the count. Survival first, then momentum, then confidence returns. And my hope for you is that you won't give up. You'll make adjustments as you go, and you'll start experiencing tiny little victories that compound into momentum and exponential wins, because that's how rebuilds actually happen. Not overnight, not with one big decision, but by stacking days, stacking reps, and stacking plays. And one day, you look up and realize you're not who you used to be anymore. And now to my kids. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to win every rep. You just have to stay in the box. Keep showing up. Keep making adjustments. Keep taking the next step toward first base even when you know how the play will end. There will be seasons where the scoreboard doesn't reflect the effort you're putting in. That doesn't mean the effort doesn't matter. It does. It always does. Trust the process. Trust the reps. Trust that God is still working even when the results are quiet. I'm proud of you for every small decision you make to be kind, to be curious, to be brave, to be honest, and to keep going. Those are the plays that stack into a beautiful life. And no matter where you are in the count, I'll always be cheering for you from the stands.